Hey everybody, what's going on? Fallout here, and today I wanted to talk to you about the Destiny 2 development update that was released today by Bungie, going over the roadmap, as it were, to improve the current state of Destiny 2. This update has kind of been like a long time coming. The community right now is really sort of torn apart and salty for the most part, and game director Christopher Barrett put a lot of thoughts together while working with a lot of other people at Bungie into this development update, because I think Bungie wants to really provide a very clear roadmap about what is being prepared for Destiny 2 for the remainder of 2018. If you hear a lot of clicking and clacking in the background of this video, I do apologize. My girlfriend is raiding right now, and I didn't want to tell her to stop, but I just wanted to record my thoughts and have a discussion with you about the current state of Destiny 2 and go through this development update together, share my thoughts, and more importantly, hear what your thoughts are. Really, the biggest thing on my brain right now is the current plan of Destiny 2 enough to bring back the people who have initially left because they didn't agree with or enjoy the game as much as they thought they would? For people out there who are still playing the game, are you currently enjoying it as much as you thought you would when you originally picked it up? How do you feel about these changes? How do you feel about the lifespan and the current strength of Destiny 2? Etc. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section as I go through this development update with you right now. For starters, Chris opens the developer update by saying, hey, we used to wait to talk about game updates until we were certain that we could meet our deadlines to avoid letting players down if we changed our plans. No longer. We're not just listening, we are doing. Please keep in mind that the further out we make promises, the more they are subject to change. Talk is cheap, and I know we all know that, but at the very least, I am glad that they are at least attempting to make sure that they're going to speak more and more about what they're going to be doing, not just saying, hey, we're listening, which is kind of the new circle jerky response by the community every time Bungie tries to communicate. They're gonna hopefully do more and listen the same amount, I guess, but do more, not just saying, hey, we're listening, but they're actually going to get the work done quicker. From there, they go into jump right into the difference between an expansion and a season, which I thought was already pretty apparent, but just for the record, expansions will give brand new content that isn't for everybody. It's only for people who have spent money on the brand new expansions, and then seasons are just, refreshed content that is available to everybody if you've purchased the expansion or not. Seasonal content includes, the Iron Banner, faction rallies, end game playlists, seasonal events, stuff like that. And they do mention that faction rallies will return on January 16th. That's coming right around the corner, and Iron Banner will be back in the rotation at the end of January on January 30th. Good that they're bringing back, Iron Banner and faction rallies, yay. I suppose it's not really what is the biggest thing on the community's mind, so good to know, but not a lot of people care about that right now. But we will move on to something more important, in my opinion, which is the Eververse. They mention, okay, we recognize that the scales are tipped too far towards TES at the moment, and Eververse was never intended to be a substitute for endgame content and rewards. In their planned changes for the Eververse, we're going to be shifting the balance of new content in favor of activity rewards over bright engrams. This includes adding ghosts, sparrows, and ships, to date found only in bright engrams, to achievement reward pools. We'll provide a gameplay path to earn bright engrams, and all contain rewards, including event engrams, and will give players more direct purchase options and make adjustments to bright engrams to allow players to get the items they want more often. I know a lot of people out there are probably upset that Bungie isn't just coming right out and removing the Eververse, but as I've mentioned before on podcasts and on Twitch and I don't know, everywhere, pretty much everywhere, Bungie is never going to remove the Eververse completely. It's just not going to happen. The nature of the gaming industry right now is just microtransactions. They're just not going to go away. Even if they're restrained only to cosmetic items and things of that nature, they'll tone it down, which is a step in the right direction for gamers everywhere. But it's kind of learning to live with the devil in the room. You know what I mean? The 800-pound gorilla over there in the corner. Hopefully we can shrink the size of the gorilla, but you know, the Eververse is just, we just have to face the facts. It's just never going to go away. Again, I am glad though that they are at least acknowledging that there's too much in the game that is tied to the Eververse, that's tied to tests. They're going to try to tone that back and give more rewards that are end game related, that are challenge related, bringing less of it out from behind the Eververse curtain. I think that's a smart move. You know, we'll never be able to get rid of it, but doing as much as we can to just minimize the bullshittery and annoyance of the Eververse is a good thing, in my opinion. Following that, Bungie begins to talk about the new seasonal event coming up, the Crimson Days, which, as you may remember from D1, is kind of like the Destiny-themed Valentine's Day event beginning February 13th, and they go on to discuss that, you know, completing events in the game like the Nightfall, the Raid, or Crimson Day milestones will reward you with certain items, most, you know, legendary emote, weapon skin, and exotic sparrow, all cosmetic-y kind of stuff, which is pretty much what I expected for the Crimson Days. Players will earn double engrams at level up, 1 crimson engram and 1 illuminated engram for the duration of the event. Crimson engrams can also drop from completing the Crimson Days match and from completing the Crimson Days milestone on each character. Each crimson engram is very strongly weighted to new rewards when decrypted until all new event items have been obtained. So I know with all the tension about the Eververse and microtransactions and just stuff like that, I think that Crimson Days is kind of coming at a bad time, but it's not like they're gonna pull it now because we're too close to the bandsaw. But at the very least, that final bullet point about having the engrams weighted very strongly to giving you new rewards when you go to get them decrypted, at the very least, it's as good as we can get in terms of earning new rewards that are tied to a seasonal event like Crimson Days. The last thing we want is a repeat of previous seasonal events like this where you would just grind and grind and grind and not get what you were looking to get because it was just a completely random RNG slot machine lever pulling operation with no real weight towards getting new items rather than just getting duplicated items. So at the very least, it looks like we'll be getting less duplicated items with the Crimson Days event. They quickly touch on XP rates, which is something I don't really care about right now. You may feel differently. They feel right now that it's too slow and, you know, too lopsided towards grinding. They want to do something to change it, but they don't really go into that too much. So moving on from that, they talk about what's going to happen during the January 30th update, starting with a brand new addition, Masterwork Armor. This Destiny 2 update that they give actually talks a lot about the different changes they want to make to the armor mod system in the game. That information's kind of scattered and separated through this update, but starting with what they mention about Masterwork Armor, they mention that Masterwork Armor will give you increased damage reduction when using your super. They go on to say below that they are updating raid rewards to make them more unique and interesting, and they will now feature new mods with raid-specific perks. They're also adjusting the rewards to ensure a raid item drops from each major encounter. The guaranteed reward from each major encounter in the raid is a really good idea. I don't know why that was ever pulled from D1 for the bizarre new coin whatever system that's going on in D2. Good changes here. I'm really interested in seeing what new mods will come along with Masterwork Armor other than just the damage reduction when using your super. I think they have a really good opportunity right now to do something different, to give a lot of variety and customization options for your armor loadout. They've got a whole new world right now, and hopefully they can just make it as good as they can. I'm really interested to see what those raid specific perks would be. I know a lot of people were asking for something that kind of matched the old D1 armor system that would occasionally give you a perk or two to help you when you're doing the raid with your friends. That also kind of ties into one of the things I wanted to hear from you guys in the comment section about. It seems that a lot of the good changes being made in this Destiny 2 developer update are sort of things that were heavily inspired or just existed in D1, and they're just bringing them to D2. Now, on one hand, I'm very happy about that because people are asking for them. It's good to get what you want, and it's good that they're giving us what we're asking for. But at the same time, it's just strange that, you know, we took a little bit of a step back in terms of not getting things that we really enjoyed from D1 and D2. I mean, we did get a lot of things already that we enjoyed about D2, but there are things, a lot of them that I will mention specifically in this update, that are coming basically back from the grave from D1. So sound off in the comment section. Please let me know how you feel about that, and let's continue reading the update. Okay, where were we? We were also adding a new ghost with raid-specific perks that has a chance to drop from the Leviathan and Eater of Worlds final encounters. We intend to return to creating more raid and other activity-unique rewards in the future. Good, same thing as I mentioned before. More raid gear is always good. Okay, moving on to the February update, starting with strike scoring and high score tracking. Sound familiar? Strike scoring is coming to Nightfall and replacing the current time limit mechanic. The scoring is similar to the D1 system, of course it is, but with adjustments to emphasize competitive execution of strike objectives and support for players' selectable score modifiers. This part is kind of cool. In February, Nightfall high scores will be exposed in-game via new emblems and will unlock rewards. We also have plans for clan and community high scores in the works. That part is cool, but again, it kind of touches on what I just talked about, which is like, it's more modeling the game off of what already worked in D1. So, you know, why wasn't it already here? Mods 2.0. Work is underway on a full rework of armor and weapon mods. This will focus on reducing redundant mods, more unique theming, and greatly increasing their impact on your power. I am really excited for that. I think the current mod system in D2 is very bland. I'm glad that it gives us some kind of customization with our loadout, but it's just not enough. It's just like, oh, do you want to have a minor cooldown on your grenade, your melee, your class ability? Which is good to have, but it's not sexy. I don't know how else to put it. Like, we had a lot of really unique things that could change our weapons and armor in D1, and I would like to see more of that. So I'm really glad that Bungie is deciding to completely redo the armor and weapon mod system, because I think that we could make so much more progress. We could make the game so much more unique. So hopefully we're going to hear more on that soon. They are apparently aiming for a February release, but the scope of the rework could push parts or all of it out to early spring. They do mention, and I'm glad that they pointed this out, that they will be evaluating how mods play into the Bright Engram economy because they are sensitive to pay-to-win outcomes. Now, we have to hold them to that. If at any point any of the new armor mods come in any of the Bright Engrams and they do like a good job of improving your character in PvP, you know, maybe with like a quicker reload, or I don't know, anything really related to a PvP benefit, anything other than just looking fancy, then we have to kind of call Bungie out on that, because that is offering armor mods via the Bright Engram system. That's pay to win. That's no fucking good. So I'm glad that they mentioned that. We have to make sure that it doesn't become that. They're adjusting game modes in quick play. They want to increase the pace of gameplay and power ammo acquisition in quick play. Increasing the pace of gameplay is definitely a thumbs up from me. Crucible is kind of a little bit slow at the moment. I'm not sure exactly what they're referring to. They're very vague. I'm a little bit worried about the power ammo acquisition being a little bit quicker. I would rather just have a faster, more engaging neutral game. So a little hesitant there. I know that we've been telling Bungie that we have the craving of getting faster gameplay, feeling more powerful, that power fantasy that people keep talking about having in Destiny. I'm not sure that increasing the rate of getting power ammo is going to be the solution to that, but we'll see. Moving on, they are adding text chat to the tower for the PC version of D2. That sounds hilarious. I can't wait to read what people are typing in the tower on PC. That'll be entertaining. Moving on, they have exotic repetition reduction. something I think we'll all be happy to have implemented into the game. This will prevent players from receiving the same exotic twice in a row. Yay. Good things. You know, probably should have had that maybe in the game earlier, but whatever. They do mention you may still receive duplicates, just not consecutively. Oh boy. Well, I don't know what to say about that. A good step in the right direction. Not the best step that could have been taken, but what are you going to do? Fireteam members on destination map. You will finally be able to see the other members of your fireteam on the destination map. No more having to ask your fireteam where they went when they fast travel to another landing zone. Yay, that's a really good change. Glad that's being put in the game. Not sure why that wasn't there from day one. I feel like I'm saying that maybe too much. But at the very least, I'm glad that they're putting it into the game. Okay, after that, they get a little bit into the spring 2018 update, hopefully right around the corner. They mention Crucible. We want to give players new reasons to play, more variety, and balance improvements. Spring will bring a number of exciting and long-awaited features to the Crucible. Starting with Crucible rank, they mention that there's going to be 2 new special ranks in PvP. They have Valor and they have Glory. Valor is going to kind of go up no matter what, and Glory is going to be a system that goes up when you win, and it goes down when you lose. I'm looking forward to this. I know that me and a lot of other PvP players have really been waiting for ranked play for kind of a long time. It's taken a while to get here, but yeah, better late than never, I suppose. On the heels of that, they go into private matches, which are going to be coming to everybody, and you know, you can basically just invite your friends and go into a private match, and you can play on the map in the mode of your choosing. We don't know at this time if it will be really customizable, like maybe you can adjust the respawn time or the power weapon time, or maybe you can take power weapons off the map entirely. I don't know what the degree is going to be of customization, but it's good that we do have private matches coming. After that, kind of a big deal, 6v6 is officially being brought back to D2, in addition to the current 4v4 game modes. Now, I know that Bungie said right from the beginning that they designed D2 to function as a 4v4 game, but when the community talks enough about wanting 6v6, it only makes sense that they're going to bring it back. My only real question is, because the game was built from the ground up to be a 4v4 game, is 6v6 going to work? I know we all miss it. I know we all want to play it. I'm looking forward to playing it right now, to be honest, but I'm just wondering, is it going to work? Because they have told us so many times that everything they did when creating D2 was to support a 4v4 player system. So, interesting decision. Really curious to see how that plays out. Mayhem is going to be coming back as a limited time event during Season 3 and moving forward. That's very good. I think they really heard the community say that, hey, you know what? Mayhem is a lot of fun. Please don't take it away. Please don't make it be super limited. We want to play this game type. It's enjoyable. It's silly and we like it. So glad that they listened there. I'm looking forward to playing more Mayhem into spring. Okay, at long last, they touch on a few things that I really care about, specifically the weapon and ability balance patch, you know, the Sandbox adjustments. And they mentioned based on player feedback and data from the live game, they're going to be making changes to the Sandbox. The Sandbox team will share specific changes as we lead up to Season 3. That's really what I care about the most. I just want to have a slightly quicker version of PvP. That's just what I'm interested in. I know a lot of other PvP players are also interested in having similar changes. I really wish they had the time and the bandwidth right now to get into the Sandbox discussion, but the good news is, at the very least, that we are right around the corner from Season 3, and the Sandbox team is going to be talking about the changes as we lead into Season 3. So hopefully we're going to see some interesting and fun and well-needed adjustments to the Sandbox and PvP very shortly. Kind of going hand in hand with the Sandbox changes, they want to make changes to exotic weapons and armor. They're getting a design pass to ensure that they stand out from the rest of the gear and offer new and exciting, powerful ways to play. That's good. Again, the community is talking a lot about that power fantasy, and with a lot of exotic weapons in the game, we're not exactly feeling that. Some of them are pretty bland, some of them are basic. I really only enjoy the Legend of Acreus and the Colony very much. Other than that, I can't really think of too many exotic weapons that are really doing it for me at all. I know I'm taking a long time to read through all of this. I'm going to jump down towards something that I think is pretty important. End game player pursuits. We agree with your feedback on the imbalance between achievement and bright engram rewards, and we will be making adjustments to shift more rewards into specific endgame pursuits instead of generic XP grinding for bright engrams. We're excited to share the details as soon as we have them worked out. Okay, that's good. That kind of ties into what they mentioned earlier about the Eververse, you know, the imbalance between getting gear, between earning it through an in-game achievement and just getting it via a bright engram at the Eververse. You know, one is significantly more enjoyable and cooler than the other. So I'm glad that they bring it up more than once, but you know, just good to call out. Also, I didn't really have this problem too much, but they did touch on the vault space. They want to add apparently an additional 50 slots to the player vaults. I mean, I'm never going to turn down the option of more vault space. They do mention we don't believe just adding more space is a complete solution, and we're actively working on other changes to reduce load on your vault space. They're also going to be adding an exotic accessory tab to the vault collections, so you will no longer need to spend vault space on exotic ships, sparrows, and ghosts. Yay. Finally, they kind of wrap it up with their plan for things coming in fall of 2018 or sooner. I know that fall is a really long time from right now, but at the very least, they're telling us rather than just keeping us in the dark between now and fall. And also, these things do have the possibility of coming out sooner, so potential good news there. I don't really need to read all of these. I'm just going to put them up on the screen and you can read them at your leisure. But I'm happy that they're bringing Rumble back, and they're talking about bringing forward more PvP playlists. I'm actually really excited about everything on this list, but I'm just really scratching my head about the timeline. I mean, I want more PvP playlists. I would kill to have Rumble brought back. Masterwork Exotics sounds brilliant. You know, Trials of the Nine improvements, sure, sign me up. I'm not a game developer, okay? I'm just a guy. I don't understand how the process works, but I'm specifically laughing at like the shaders and dismantling being on this list. I can understand taking a long time to add improvements to trials, or maybe, you know, just changing the game in significant ways. Is it really going to take this long to possibly fall to have the ability to group dismantle large clusters of shaders? That seems kind of silly to me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm really excited for all things on this list. They're all needed. I want them all. I want them to improve the game that I like to play. I just don't understand why it would take so long for everything on this list. I mean, hopefully it would come sooner. It just seems like a very long time. I wish that it would have come sooner. I feel like it's sort of like a borderline duh. We need more than just 2 PvP playlists. You know what I mean? It's taking a little too long for me. Again, I'm kind of rambling right now. I'm glad that they're coming, but it's just, oh man, why so long? Anyway, that kind of concludes the Destiny 2 developer update by Christopher Barrett. Now, this is where you, the community, come in. I want you to tell me how you feel, because a lot of people, this is a lot of information for everyone in the community to take in, and I've already been talking to a lot of people about how they feel about it, what they like and what they don't like. I'm really just curious, do you think that this is going to be enough to bring the game to where you want it to be? I know the internet can tend to over-exaggerate, but one of the comments floating around these days is, you know, air quotes, Destiny 2 is dead. How do you feel about something like that? If you are a player who hasn't been playing D2 for a while, but you've still been around on my channel, do these changes make you feel like you would want to come back? Is it too little too late? Is the game going to experience a sort of revival with these changes? How do you feel? Please let me know in the comments section. I would really like to discuss it with you. Thank you very much for watching this video. I personally have high hopes for 2018 with Destiny 2 and Bungie. Maybe that's because I'm an optimist. But you know, what are you going to do? Time will tell in the end. So please, let's have a discussion in the comments section. Try to keep it civil. Let me know your thoughts. And thank you very much for watching. See you next time.